was working in the underwater base late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for an alien from his ship began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the mash. That's right, he did a monster mash. The scene was rockin' and all were digging the sound. Kevin was banging heavy objects around until Ray opened the door and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to that trackball twist?" And maybe this would be easier with the trackball, maybe it wouldn't. Either way, it's tough to survive the would-be Crypt Kicker 5 in Wacko. Released to arcades in 1983, Wacko was another in a very long line of games from Midway, easily the leading producer of arcade games in the 1980s. And although this one doesn't live up to the standard of Midway's classics, Wacko is still a quirky little game with a charm and frustration all its own. You play Wacko as Kapt'n Krooz'r, a little alien with a big problem. Monsters of many malicious manifestations are surrounding his ship, and it's your job to help the captain clean house. Much like Robotron, actually, you can move your ship freely through the hordes and fire at will, but unfortunately, you can only shoot in 4 directions in Wacko. Now, having limited aim often makes the game sway from challenging to downright frustrating, and the objective doesn't make things any easier. The game's hook is that you can only eliminate monsters of the same variety. In a sense, Wacko is essentially a matching game mixed with Robotron. And if you think that's a strange breed, try shooting the wrong enemies. My lord! Oh, what has science done? Oh, what has science done? You see, the Kapt'n Krooz'r laser simply freezes the monsters. It only eliminates an enemy if you've frozen one of the same variety first. So to eliminate the vampires, for example, you have to shoot them in succession. But Wacko makes things even more interesting. If you shoot an enemy that's different than the one you've already frozen, they mutate into a bizarre kind of crossbreed. You can either restore them by matching them again, or you can mutate another set of enemies to try to create identical pairs and match them for extra points. And I gotta tell you, you don't know fear until you're being chased by mutated vampire dragons. Sounds like things can get pretty hectic, right? Yeah, they can, and that's not even considering the tiny monsters that evolve from matched pairs. They can't be killed until you've cleared the big monsters first, and try doing that with 4-directional aiming. The game's premise is certainly interesting. The concept of a matchmaking shooter would seem to have a lot of potential, and if nothing else, it's definitely a fun idea. But unfortunately, the bizarre Wacko is a little too wacky for its own good.